Bonaduce, life coach. Danny Bonaduce, life coach.
All right, boys and girls, it is time for Danny Bonaduce, life coach. Let me tell you right now, we do take your emails. As a matter of fact, we love your emails at lifecoach@KZOK.com. But also, you can call me right now, and that way we can talk back and forth one another to each other. 1-800-252-1025. Life Coach brought to you by Goldberg Jones Divorce for Men. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Let's talk to Roy and see what's going on in Auburn today. Good morning, Roy.
Good morning, Mr. Bonaduce.
How are you, sir?
Well, I'm a little nervous calling you. I've listened to you for a while, and I've got something that isn't kind of like everybody else's, I don't think. Maybe,
I don't know. We've had some wild calls around here, Roy.
All right.
All right, what do you got?
Well, I had cancer, and it caused one of my bones to, I guess, explode, and I had a piece replaced, and drugs don't work, and I'm terrified.
Now, what they do with the replacement, is it new bone, a graft, or a plate?
It's a titanium pin.
This is why you're calling the right show. My left arm is completely full of titanium. I knew I would know about. Well, I know about all of them from some silly thing I've done. Now, you did this of no fault of your own. I have the titanium plate from a bad bike accident, but I know exactly what you mean to have a titanium plate in your body when you didn't ask for it. So, what's your problem? Because my titanium plate, as lovely as it is, I'm having some real problems with it right now. So, is it something about your plate not working out that well for you?
I'm in nonstop pain, and it causes me to just kind of go inside. And I've been married 19 years, and I have some beautiful children.
Oh, that's
and
lovely.
I've seen them come into my room and say, "Oh, Dad's in pain. Leave him alone." I mean, I never yell at them, but they can tell when I'm just trying to focus on the dot on the wall.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm in sales, and there's only two things that help, and I can't do them just at the drop of a hat. I mean, I can, but I can't. I can run for 5 miles, and for a couple hours, I have no pain.
Is that true from the endorphins that kick in running when you've got specific pain due to your cancer and the ramifications thereof, that those endorphins that I always hear about that are going to kick in, you can kick them in so far that you have no pain from your plate and from the effects of the cancer?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing to me. All right, so what specifically, do you have a question for me?
I don't know if there's anything that I'm missing since drugs don't work, meaning the painkillers, because they just make me go loopy, and I still feel it. It's like being in that horror movie where you're unconscious, but you can't move. You can hear everybody, and they're going to cut you open.
I know exactly what you mean. I think everybody has had that dream. I think everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. Now, I can relate to this, but another, when you talk, well, am I going to be in pain, or am I going to take a whole bunch of drugs and be loopy? I'm going with the drugs, but that's just me. So your question then, I guess, is there something else that you can do besides take meds for your pain?
Yeah, I mean, I can't run every time at the drop of a hat, and I can't have sex anytime I want necessarily. So
neither can any married man. That's not new to you, man. That's all of us. Well, have you talked to your doctor about the plate, maybe moving it? Is it on a nerve, anything like that? I don't see a reason, really, why you should be in pain. I mean, you've got to adapt to the plates and things like that, but it doesn't seem right. It seems something's gone awry for you to be in this kind of pain.
It's my radial head. It was replaced. They put 2 inches of titanium inside the radial bone, and then a 2-inch head that bumps up against the downward bone on my
All right,
forearm.
so you can take the meds, and they do work. They do kill the pain, but you don't think you can work.
No, they don't.
Oh, they don't work.
They don't work.
You just feel loopy, and the pain isn't gone.
Yeah, and I just feel like every time I see something sad, I just burst into tears. And I jumped out of airplanes for the military and did crazy things in Iraq. So it's not like I'm this wuss, but I just feel like, why am I crying over this woman singing Hallelujah on the Stars show or whatever it is?
All right, well, I'm going to recommend a couple of things. First, I'm going to recommend that you call your doctor, make an appointment, see if there isn't something awry, that you're near a nerve or something like that. Then I'm going to recommend acupuncture to you and see if we can't cut off. Because, if you think about it, because a lot of people think that stuff is bogus. And I don't think it works for all the stuff they say it will. But if you find a really good acupuncture artist, you might work out. Now, think about the nerves that they cut off pain. Think about, what's that thing chicks get before they go into labor?
Epidural.
An epidural. If you can cut off that kind of pain, You know, if you can cut that off, then pain can be cut. So I would call your doctor and see about that, and I'm going to highly recommend it, unless your doctor has an answer for you, and he might. Try going the acupuncture route. You don't have anything to lose. I would certainly give that a try. Thank you very much for the call.
If you've got a question for the life coach, 800-252-1025, he can help you.
I can.
Make the call.
What are the odds that we're going to call up and a guy's going to have a problem with his titanium plate, and I go, I got a titanium plate right here.
And you gave him great advice.
I did. Thank you very much.
John and Sammamish, you're on with the life coach.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning, guys.
Good morning to you. What can we do for you?
Hey, what are your thoughts on 12-step programs, Danny?
Well, that's a loaded question for me because, let's say, literally a loaded question. I didn't even know I was being that funny. You know, sometimes, like on Twitter, for example, I made some rough reference or joke about going to a carnival, and I had beads around my neck and no shirt on, and I made a joke that implied, hey, I don't know where my clothes are. And people wrote back, going, hang in, Danny, you're sober. It's like, hey, I didn't mean to freak you guys out or anything. I was just kidding around. I don't think that 12-step meetings, although I do go to them, are the do-all, end-all. I think it's part of something that somebody in recovery should do. You know, talk to like-minded people. I have often said, you know, because I cheat. I was trying to get sober for 30 years and failed. I never had a year sober before this time around when I've got over 3. And I've always said, though, if I wanted to drink so bad I couldn't take it, but I got to an AA meeting first, I could make it home for the rest of that night. You hear everybody tell your same story. I was drunk, and then I lost my job, and then I lost my wife, and then I lost my kids, and then I lost all my self-respect, and then you get a little bit sober. My kids are talking to me now. I got a new job. So, you know what? I think that they work, but I think you should do other stuff. Are you in recovery, John?
Yeah, and I've been in a 12-step program for about 30 years as well, and I'm really kind of having some issues with it, I guess. But and it's all pain-related, my issues are, and the nature in which they see things, you know, black and white manner, just doesn't necessarily work. I wanted to smoke something for some pain relief, and
they're wrong.
Quite frowned upon.
They're wrong. They're crazy. They want to. I'm not saying AA and those guys are crazy across the board, but you know what? They'd call you. Some people's AA say you can't go to the dentist anymore. You can't even have Novocaine anymore.
Right.
It's just. I'm going to say that's some people way out on the edge, but say you needed some Vicodin afterwards. Most of the people I know in AA or in NA or any of them would say, well, you don't have the 3-year sobriety that you used to have. The second you took the whatever the hell it was.
Prescribed medication.
Yeah, that you're not sober anymore. And I say poppycock to that. So I say stay in whatever program. And I didn't mean to single out AA. That's where I go. But I would say stay in the 12-step program for absolute sure, but check out other avenues and remedies. And I would say if you can get if it'll make you feel better than to go down to the local store because it's legal now, but to get a doctor to prescribe you marijuana, it's no big deal. They're all going to do it. Everybody has it now. Go and get a prescription, and then don't listen to your friends in the 12-step programs. You're absolutely still 100% 30 years sober, and good for you for cherishing it and protecting it.
If you've got a question for the life coach, 800-252-1025, call that number now. Jeff in Mill Creek, you're on with Danny.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, good morning, Danny. How are you guys there this morning?
We're good, man. What's up?
Hey, I'm 52 years old, and a little while back I went in for a job interview. They really liked me. They gave me the job. I filled out my background check and everything. They gave me the job, and then all of a sudden they said, no, you can't have the job because you lied on your background check. Apparently, I have tickets from back in the 80s, and they popped up. And my question to you is, how I need to quash these tickets because they've given me some problems. I have a job now because I'm being honest. But my question to you is, how do I get these tickets quashed? I cannot afford an attorney.
All right, well, I will tell you what I think you should do. And that's interesting you said that I went to another job. Now, because you didn't even know you had them before, did you? The first you realized you had these tickets was when they popped up on your background check, right?
Right.
All right, so you didn't lie to anybody. You just didn't have all the information. And then you went to the next job and you said, oh, by the way, when you do background, traffic violations are going to pop up. And they gave you that job, correct again?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, just let me say this. I've said this on the show 6 times. When people are talking about whether it's tickets like this or an old marijuana arrest or something like that, or any kind of arrest, as long as it's small enough, I said, go in and tell the truth. Nobody is without blame. Nobody that is without sin. You're going to find a boss very soon that goes, well, I did that. We have that. Welcome aboard. And Jeff has proved that to me. So, but to get the tickets quashed, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I'm surprised they're showing up, although everybody thinks that they'd be gone after a certain amount of time. What's it called? The
statute of limitations.
Thank you. The statute of limitations would come up. No, statute of limitations is only valid when they haven't caught you for anything. For tickets, it would never work. But say you robbed a liquor store and nobody ever caught you. Nobody ever knew it was you. And 12 years later, you came in. The statute of limitations would have kicked in. But if you get arrested, go to court and flee your bail, there's no statute of limitations anymore. That's forever. That only works out it only works out if you got away with it and never got arrested for it. But nobody, much like you got a chance to tell the new job the truth because you thought, well, nobody's really going to care about this, and you were right. I want you to do the same thing with the court. I'd say cover your butt and call them up or write a letter to them. You hate to walk in front of a judge and have them go, yeah, you criminal, and throw you into handcuffs. But they don't want you either. There'll be a small fine. It's not going to be, they're not going to put fine on top of fine on top of fine over the last 30 years. But that's going to be what I would do. And you know what? Maybe they'll offer you 6 years of traffic school, 30-year-old tickets. But nobody wants you, man. Apply to the court to have them quashed, and they'll do it. And this is one of the great things about the internet. You don't even know how to do this. Like you said, you don't have a lawyer. Somebody on the internet will walk you through it. Go and Google it, find out the email for the traffic department and traffic court, and they will walk you right through this, man. Hey, good luck, Jeff.
The next caller on Danny Bonaduce Life Coach is CJ in Fife.
CJ, what's up, man?
Hey, Danny. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Sarah, and the other guy.
Morning, CJ.
Hey, Danny, I had a question for you. I've been sober. I'm 53. I've been sober for 25 years.
A lot of sober going on today.
The whole thing with me is that I went for 3 months. They diagnosed me as an alcoholic through their 31 questionnaire or whatever.
And usually it's if you've answered yes to the very first question, you're an alcoholic. They like making people alcoholics.
And I was honest. I answered yes to about 28 of them. Anyway, my question is to you is that I was off-put by the whole, it's not your fault, it's your disease. Well, I'm under the impression if you're 21 and you drive your car through a house, it's your fault because you were drunk.
I agree with you, CJ.
And I just wondered how you thought with all this. I haven't been to an AA meeting since the 3rd month that I was sober. And I've been sober for 25 years. So.
Oh, I like them. I think I haven't been to as many as I probably should. If I was working a program, then I really haven't been to anywhere nearly as many as I should. Back in Hollywood, there was a meeting. We just called it the Famous Guy meeting. And I totally went, Miss America sat right next to me, for God's sakes. Who's not going? And I won't say who it was, but it was one of the friends. That's all I'm saying. He's out in public. He says I can say stuff. Everybody can say it. But yeah, I did that. But I think they're a great idea, but I think they're only one part of a program for you. I don't think they should be the do-all, end-all. And you were put off by the fact that whether alcoholism is a disease or not. You weigh in so heavily on that. But again, I do think is it a disease? I think a lot of people are covering with that. It's like, I had a guy tell me your disease is exactly like cancer. And I said, really? Go to the children's ward of the cancer hospital and tell that kid you know how he feels. So I say, you've had years of sobriety. I say you work it any way that works. If it works, it's good. If it does work, it's really bad. Don't do it. That's all the time we have today for Danny Bonaduce Life Coach. A lot of fun today, even though you're all drunk and ruining your lives. Everybody was bright and very fun to talk to. That's all the time we have for Danny Bonaduce Life Coach today. Life Coach brought to you by Goldberg Jones Divorce for Men. Call 1-800-DIVORCE.